All right, so welcome to another installment of the Proven Sales Letter Breakdown series, in which I break down proven ads that have worked throughout history, throughout direct response history, and I discover why they worked, how they worked, and also what you can extract from them that you can also use in your own promotions, your copywriting projects, or any other marketing campaigns. So this one was actually written by a student of Joe Sugarman, and I've had Joe Sugarman broken down before in a previous issue, but if as we go through this ad, you'll notice how the style is kind of similar and how just frictionless everything is. How this was also a space ad. So a space ad basically means that it was run in newspapers or like older type of advertising mediums, and it blended into the newspaper world. So if you check out the ad itself, it's basically just like an article in a newspaper. So this is really important because you want to make your advertisement seem like it's blended into the content part. It's so that people don't immediately disqualify it. And sure, it's written here that advertisement, but most people, to be honest, don't really notice it. Yes, they see it, but they don't really grasp it, because as soon as they start reading the headline itself, a fluke of nature, they're just gonna get sucked into the story if it's good enough. And fortunately, this is definitely good enough. So another thing that you can notice throughout this ad is that there's no aggressive selling going on here. Instead, it's basically an interesting story. It's just interesting story. So this ad is selling grapefruits. So you might be thinking like, how the hell can I differentiate grapefruit? Grapefruit. It's like it's a fruit. So what can I make to make it sell better? And would be uh, this ad could be a really good example for you to find out what you can do to differentiate a bland product that normally doesn't really have an easy differentiation opportunity. But it's really important for you to differentiate your product, because you always want to answer the question, like, people are always asking, why should I buy your product over anybody else's, or over not doing anything? Because remember, the most comfortable way that people act consistently is by doing nothing. So they don't do nothing. This is the standard. And you have to really, really work hard as a copywriter or marketing strategist to come up with a message and an offer that makes them actually act or do something. And this ad is really powerful in that. Um, Also, it's a great example of an advertorial. So an advertorial is basically it's mostly content. It's 80% content and 20% sales. And you'll notice if you read this for yourself how it's not aggressive at all. It's not interweaved with call to actions everywhere. So this is definitely written for an unaware audience. And if you're not familiar with this, Eugene Schwartz, a legendary copywriter, had this concept called the stages of awareness. So there are people who are unaware that they have a problem. Then there are people who are problem aware. So this means that they have a problem, but they don't really know how to solve it. Then there are people who are problem aware, who are solution aware. So in this case, they know they have a problem. They know that there are solutions to fixing this problem, but they have no idea exactly how to solve it. Then there are product aware people who all know all these things, but they also know about your product. And this is really cool because at this point, if you get here, it's your product's job to really convince them why it's different, why they should pick it. And this is where unique selling propositions are very important. And then finally, we have most aware people who know everything. They're just basically waiting for a promotion or discount or something from you to buy. But in this case, again, since we're talking about grapefruits, I mean, most of these audience, I would say they're probably unaware. Like, they don't have a problem. They don't wake up in the morning saying something like, "Oh my God, I wish I had good grapefruit in my fridge." No, they don't really. This is just like a very, very, very cold audience. So that's why, this type of ad is basically, since it's written for unaware audiences, it's a story lead. So a lead is something we call like lead is basically the beginning of any ad after the headline, which hooks people in. And there's a great book from Michael Masterson called Great Leads, and it really highlights 6 different types of leads based on how warm your audience is. And these types of leads should be used to maximize the chance of them being interested in your offer and basically getting sucked into it. So since this is an unaware audience, this is a story lead, and it goes really well with it. But if this was a product aware audience, then a direct lead that directly talks about the product itself could be maybe a better choice. But in this case, it was a really, really wise choice. In the beginning, we have a little place that sets expectations, and this is very similar to the blue blockers ad that I did before, which also starts with something like, I'm about to tell you a true story. So I'm a farmer, and the story I tell you is the absolute truth, incredible as it may seem. So this immediately grabs people's attention and creates curiosity, like what could this be? And then we go into the story lead itself. And remember, Joseph Sugarman was the person who invented the concept of the slippery slope. So he said that the aim of your headline is for people to read the next line, and the aim of the next line is for people to read the next line, and so on. So this little teaser here is just here so that people read this, and then the story lead is just here so that people read the next paragraph and the next one and the next one. Okay, so it's really, everything is really, really intentional. And there's all sorts of mystery elements sprinkled throughout this ad. So he says something like he discovered some things. He discovered the strangest grapefruit anyone has ever seen. A single branch of an ordinary grapefruit tree has produced these 6 unusual fruit. So unusual fruit, it's also kind of like a new opportunity. So this goes back to the unique selling proposition. Like, how the hell do you differentiate the grapefruit? Like, it's just a fruit, as if you were selling potatoes or something. How can you differentiate it? Well, one of the best ways is to find a new opportunity, like find something. This isn't a regularly grapefruit. It's actually a ruby red, a Texas ruby red grapefruit. And the thing is, at this point, we don't know this. So just like any good series or movie or something, the writer doesn't really give away everything at once. He basically he teases it, he sets expectations, he future paces a bit, he opens loops so that you keep on reading and reading, because at this point you want to discover what this whole thing is about. And I think he does this really, really well. More info about the unique selling proposition, like how this had a brilliant ruby red color, like normally grapefruit. Yes, it's kind of red, but it's not like a brilliant ruby red. Maybe now this is it. It is because it's been engineered to be so. But in those times, maybe this was really a differentiating factor. So we basically have a story of how, Dr. Webb, and this adds proof immediately to the person, because whenever we see a doctor, a lawyer, or something, we immediately think that they're credible individuals, which is often not the case, but like they do. That's just human nature. And Dr. Webb, he's the guy who found this, and if he's a doctor, then what he found must be true, right? So this is how people actually think in many cases. So then we get a little description of how this is the perfect, juicy, and luscious fruit. So this is a great example of showing and not telling. You're not telling them how good it tastes. You're basically describing the sense, the sensation of the taste of grapefruit. And this is what really gets people's juices flowing. This is what, as if, like, I don't even like grapefruit that much, to be honest, but at this point I just want to taste it, because who doesn't want a juicy, luscious, perfect something? Yeah, so it's again, it's a very, very smart move, and it was so sweet without added sugars or something. So he also does a little preemptive objection handling and positioning here, because yes, it's juicy and perfect and everything, but without any added colorants or sugar or preservatives or anything. And even later, he also appeals to this when he's speaking to people who are more likely health conscious people, and they will, by doing this, he immediately gets sympathy from those types of people. We have even more mystery here. So check it out. Like, for some reason, we'll never know why, nature had chosen to produce an entirely new kind of grapefruit here in our magic Rio Grande Valley. So it's incredible. It's everything that we wanted. And again, this appeals to nature and organic lovers. Um, then we build on the emotion. We have a little subheadline here called "You Can Imagine the Excitement." So again, this is showing, not telling. We aren't telling how good these are, but like, we're trying to get people to be absorbed into this whole advertising thing. And there's a bunch of little cool things here, like even more curiosity. So when I say no one man in 1,000 has ever tasted this grapefruit, you can easily understand why. So this is something like, what could this thing be so that everyone's raving about it? I want to understand what this is. And it's exactly what the effect of this ad is. So that's why it was so good and performed so highly. So another interesting and very smart thing the writer does here is that he seeds scarcity. So he already says something like, but it's very rare to have these ruby reds. So this presupposes that there's not many of them, so that if you want it, you better act now, because otherwise somebody else is going to take it from you, and you don't want that, right? He doesn't really say it explicitly, but it's there, and it's a presupposition. Then we also have more USP plus scarcity types of things. So like, only 4 to 5% of the entire crop will qualify as the royal ruby red. So again, it's like, think about it. You're selling grapefruit and you're naming it as royal ruby red. It's a very memorable name. It's a very good name because it has royal, so it must be something exclusive. It's ruby, so people like rubies and they have a beautiful color, and it's red, which again differentiates it from most traditional grapefruits. So I really love the name. It's also memorable. It's RRR. It's like or something. People just, I don't know. I think it's memorable, and it also it automatically incorporates a lot of the unique selling propositions into it, which is genius in my opinion. Then we have some more preemptive objection handling. So yes, maybe this grapefruit is good and better than all the rest and everything, but what if it spoils? That's what the prospect is thinking. What if it spoils way too easily? Well, the writer here preemptively answers this objection, and it says this will stay fresh for many weeks. Then we go into kind of like a part which shows that there's a lot of attention to detail, and it's like, if you buy this from me, I can guarantee that you're gonna get the best. So we have, like, many times things like checked is mentioned. Like, I've checked out the fruit for tree ripened maturity myself. I check for natural sugar. I check to see that the fruit is plump and meaty. So it's like the producer, so who's like the name behind this ad. Um, he only wants to give you, the consumer, the absolute best, so that you want it even more. And this can also be like another type of unique selling proposition. Then we have a little picture here with a little text which says, this is a picture of the actual harvest of the season's first ruby reds. So I really like this because it's future pacing. It kind of, again, presupposes that you're gonna be one of the first to get this. So it kind of raises this aura of exclusivity, and I really like it. And there's even more like mystery here. We only want to give you the best, as I said, they don't want anything more. We have more stuff related to how these grapefruits are different. They aren't wind scarred, and then I won't accept anything but the best, so that if you buy from me, you only get the best. And I like how the writer also introduced some specificity as well, because he says stuff like sheep's nose. So like he doesn't, the producer won't give you grapefruit which has the sheep's nose, which apparently is kind of like, which makes the fruit undesirable, I guess. We're probably not used to this expression, or I don't know, I'm not a big grapefruit eater, but like nowadays, I guess everything that you can buy in the grocery store is pretty much the same. So except if you're going to like some super organic markets. But in those days, I think it was something really specific that people cared about. And then we go into more differentiation on how this is the ultimate fruit. And something I really like is that he brings up the element of being part of a club, an exclusive club that has access to this special royal something. So this kind of stimulates an age-old desire of the everyday man, of average Joe, being part of the elite, of the exclusive insiders, because usually they aren't. And then this kind of stimulates that little thing. It doesn't tell this explicitly, but there is something like that in the background. So check it out how he does it. Like, when I realized that the Royal Ruby Reds were the ultimate fruit, I decided to form a club and sell only to my club members. In this matter, I can control my production to ensure that nobody will be disappointed. So again, I'm the good guy, and I want to include you into my little exclusive club. Everybody wants that. Then I also love how there's a presupposition here. He says, but before I ask you to join my club, I want you to sample my Royal Ruby Reds for yourself. So there's a little presupposition that there's gonna be a sale and that you're gonna buy, which I like. And there's also something called a soft offer. So he basically gives the opportunity to get this specific product at no risk at all, because you don't even have to pay for it in the beginning, but he's gonna send you like a sample box. And we know from Scientific Advertising, a legendary book that started direct response copywriting as we know it, that samples, free samples are very, very powerful even to this day, and doing something like this kind of makes it, as I said, an irresistible offer. We also have some instructions and future pacing, which I really like. He says, then cut them in half and have your family sample this unusual fruit. So we have a bunch of copy elements that presuppose that you're already a customer, and then what should you do when you're a customer. So it's not a question of if, it's more of a question of when. Then we have another picture with a little caption here, and I like it because it's a very friendly picture, and the picture with the text again highlights how you're only gonna get the best. I'm gonna hand pick it and hand select it for you. Okay, and very smartly, the copywriter at this point, it might seem to some people, it might seem that this is way too good to be true. But no, the copywriter preemptively answers this objection, because he makes sure that the control is given back to the reader. So he says, so at this point, he doesn't say, okay, buy now because otherwise you'll be left out. But he says, you decide whether or not Royal Ruby Reds are everything I say. You determine whether or not eating a Royal Ruby Red is the fantastic taste experience I promise. Okay, so this just gives control back to people, and generally people like it. Then we have some more future pacing. Then we start to go into the offer part itself, and there's also risk reverser mentioned many, many times. So again, since this is an unaware audience, they don't know that they have a problem, they don't know that you have a special product. Obviously, they know what grapefruits are. Maybe they like them, maybe they don't. But in this case, you really want to make it like no risk for them, like a no-brainer offer. And by alternating between like risk reversal and curiosity and benefits and scarcity, it creates a very strong persuasive slope, like a slippery slope. So then the writer makes a timely offer. He says, this way you are sure to receive your package containing 16 or 20, I like the specificity by the way, royal ruby reds for you and your family to sample a few days before Christmas. But since the supply is strictly limited, it's important to place your order now. So it's a timely offer because it's before Christmas, and he probably knows that during Christmas, people have this FOMO, this fear of missing out, because what if I won't have time to buy all the presents? What if there won't be any presents because everybody's buying everything up? What if I won't get any discounts? What if I don't know, can't find the best tree that I'm looking for or something? They have this type of mentality at this part of the year, and by highlighting how, supplies are limited, it creates a very strong urgency and a very strong sense to buy now. Then we have another like no risk type of subhead, send no money now. So again, this is a soft offer. It's like, I'm gonna give you everything right now, then you test it, and then you decide whether you want to get more of it or not. So this is an irresistible offer. There's some specifics here. We also have some things like privilege, like words like privilege, which again highlights exclusivity. So by saying yes to my first shipment, you have the privilege to automatically joining my winter fruit club. Please be assured you pay nothing in advance. So again, it's just a no-brainer offer, and it's very important to have no-brainer offers, especially in competitive markets. And then we have some objection handling. So like, some people might be concerned about delivery, so he immediately says like how we'll have safe delivery, it's totally guaranteed, how the fruit is picked and packed, with great care, and all these types of things. Even more risk reversal. And then we have ordering instructions, which is really powerful, really important. Many people forget about it, but it's super critical because you want to definitely lower um, the anxiety of people whenever they want to order something, because spending money oftentimes creates physical pain in people, and they want to put it off until they can. But obviously you don't want them to do this, because then they won't buy. Like, if they throw this newspaper out or if they put it aside, chances are they're never gonna like revisit the ad again. So you have to get them right now, and in order to do that, you need urgency, you need a good offer, but you also have to explain how the ordering process works so that they can see that this isn't a scam, this is like a normal thing, and everything is thought out, and it creates a good experience right from the start. We have risk reversal once again, it's really powerful in this ad, and we have scarcity once again, and then at the end we have the call to action with some toll-free numbers. So yeah, that's it, that's the ad. It was super effective, but you can see how many things go into an ad like this. Everything's there for a reason, everything has been edited meticulously until every single word basically had to earn its place. So yeah, but I hope you learned a lot from it. So if you enjoyed this video, by the way, then make sure to leave a like below, because it really helps me. It really helps the video reach more people. Also subscribe if you want to follow along and if you want to watch more of these videos. And stay tuned for the next one, because I really appreciate you being here, and hopefully you're getting a lot of good value out of it. So thanks again. See you next time.